And today's guest on the Financial Planner Life podcast is the lovely Laura North from Laura North Financial Planning. I really enjoyed talking to Laura because it's an honest account of what it's like moving from one career to the other. She was a teacher for 16 years. She ended up really falling out of love with it, but a chance encounter with someone from St. James's Place opened her up to the St. James's Place Academy. She doesn't move quickly. It took her 9 months to make the decision to join St. James's Place. So we talk about what she did during that period around her due diligence to feel comfortable and calm enough to move across into the St. James's Place Academy and, of course, into a brand new career. We also talk about her first 12 months, which she describes as phenomenal. So this is an amazing episode for anybody that wants to know a little bit more about the St. James's Place Academy and what it's like to make a career switch, especially if you're a teacher. You're going to love this episode if you're thinking about joining the financial planning profession and you want an honest review of the St. James's Place Academy. Laura North, Financial Planning.
Hello.
Does exactly what it says on the tin, you said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Laura North, Financial Planning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm really, really good, thank you. 2 weeks into my new Dubai life and it's going well. My daughter's in school. She's loving it. We've moved into our own apartment here for the next 12 months. I've got my feet nice and firmly under the table with Hoxton Life, and I'm getting stuck into a lot of really interesting projects. And I feel good, actually. I feel like I've made the right decision. It's always nerve-wracking and terrifying doing anything different, but I had a whole year of very different things happening. So I thought, you know what? Let's move country and move job at the same time. So there we are. And my family.
Right.
And
you look happy. That's the main thing.
oh, good. Well, a tan can do that as well, I think. A tan can definitely make you happy. As I said to you, it's amazing how better I feel knowing every day when I get up that the sun is shining, and it does have a nice positive impact. And it's even like at the weekend, right? You go like, well, what am I going to do this weekend? Well, I can go to the beach, I can go to the pool. I can go out and spend some time outside and not have to worry about the wind and the rain. So not to rub it in, but yeah, it's pretty good.
There's a little bit of sunshine, as you just said it.
There's a little bit of sunshine. Oh, that's good.
It's cold.
It's cold, right? Classic. So, Laura, thank you so much for joining me today on the Financial Planner Life podcast. And I really enjoyed us talking a few weeks back when we did a bit of a podcast exploratory chat to find out a little bit more about you pre-podcast. You have gone through the St. James's Place Academy, and St. James's Place are a partner of the Financial Planner Life podcast. We love talking about people who've did a career switch, and you're definitely one of those people that have done a career switch. And I think it's really, really important that we talk about those career switches because we want new people joining the profession. And you're a prime example of somebody who has made that leap. So let's talk about that journey, the ups and the downs, the realities of switching career, really. So first off, tell us a little bit about your previous career. What were you doing prior to joining St. James's Place as a financial planner?
I was a college lecturer, or I don't like the word lecturer, but teacher for 16 years in the local college, teaching business and finance, everything from level 1 to A level, essentially. And in that time, what did I do? I ran courses. I taught a whole range of different people, different subjects. I mentored and coached new teachers to come into the profession as well. And I think people say to me all the time, how many people do you think you taught? And I've no idea. 1,000, maybe more. I don't know. There was a lot, and it's quite different to when you're teaching in a school. You literally walk from one. You might be teaching sort of finance to a very low level group, and then you might be going to teach operations management to a very high level group 2 hours later. So you have to really, every day is different, every couple of hours is different. You're not with the same set of people all the time. So yeah, very every day was completely different, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were working in a college. Did you ever work in a school, like in a primary or a secondary or a junior school?
No, I've always only taught 16 to 19-year-olds.
Okay, interesting. And with those 16 to 19-year-olds, as we're on the subject and you were in a college setting, were they taught anything around finance?
No, I mean, I taught finance, so, and it was things like setting up your business, cash flow forecasting, how to run your business. But um, we did actually have a financial studies qualification at one point, but that soon disappeared. But I think it was really something you try to talk and integrate into your lessons. It depends on in your subject area, really. Obviously, if you're teaching art, for example, it's quite hard to do that. But um, there are people you can get in to kind of have these kind of educational chats to, or guest speakers. But yeah, financial education is kind of is really lacking, I'd say.
Yeah.
Unless you're kind of passionate about it or part of it,
Mm.
then I suppose it's a bit of a subject that people don't really talk about.
How long were you teaching for?
16 years. So,
16 years. Okay. So
yeah, it's a huge
oh,
chunk of my life. Huge chunk.
it is a huge chunk of your life. 16 years. It's the same amount of time that I ran a business for, actually, that I just recently sold. So 16 years. I know exactly what 16 years feels like. And it is a big chunk of your life. A lot of change goes on in your life
Mm,
during that period. You get
yeah,
married, you have kids, all that type of stuff,
babies.
right? Babies, a
Yeah,
lot. Excellent.
yeah.
Okay. So teaching is something that when did you choose to become a teacher? Did you leave college, university, and then go straight into teaching? When did you enter into that career?
Well, I think I was actually 4 when I first decided I was going to be a teacher forever. And I used to do registers to my make believe friends and teddies and stuff, and set homework and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I remember being at college saying I'm definitely going to be a teacher. I did my work experience at school, in a junior school. It's actually the junior school my son goes to now. I just always wanted to be a teacher. I don't know what exactly. So when I was at college, I did tourism management with business studies alongside. I went off and did my degree in tourism management, but the business aspect just popped out at me all the time. It's something that I really enjoyed, and then I ended up. But while I was always teaching, while I was at university, I've always been one of these people that's always got like 2 or 3 jobs on the go. So I used to go to college in the day, and at night I used to run an insurance department. In when I was only sort of 17, um, we sold car insurance add-ons for the RAC. But yeah, I was quite quick to move up the ladder there, and they said, please stay. And I said, no, I really want to finish my last year at university because I desperately want to go on to be a teacher. And then I went into marketing for a little while for a brilliant company that was just starting. And there was only a few of us, but they grew so quickly. But I actually was the first person to ever leave their company because I was so desperate to be a teacher. I just kept going. And then I went in to work for the local council and help promote tourism in the local area. And again, I was reading in the paper one day, and a maternity position came up to do some teaching hours at the college that I used to go to, and I always wanted to be part of. And I actually asked the tourism department I was working with, because it was a sort of 7-day week thing, can I have my 2 days off on these 2 days? So I used to go in and teach on my 2 days off, as well as working full time within the council. So I think for 10 months, I basically worked 7 days a week, teaching 12 hours without a qualification and doing my tourism job within the council. And then the college said, would you like to come and train and to get qualification. So I said, yes, please. And then that's it. I left.
Well, there we go. So it sounds like you were destined and born to be a teacher from 4 years old, doing the register with your teddy bears. You had it in you had it in your blood, by the sounds of it. Teaching was something that you were going to do, regardless of the success you were having, even at a young age, working in the marketing or the department when it comes to the insurance add-ons or the RAC, etc. So you had some really great
Yeah.
success in other areas. So I'm going to ask the question: why teaching though?
I think it just involves being with people and helping people. And I like to learn myself. So I don't know if that's something I kind of impart on other people. And it's just nice to see people develop and improve. I don't know why at 4 years old I thought that was that would have been my answer. But I just really enjoyed school myself. I don't know if, again, I had a really positive outcome at school. I used to love going to school. It was like my kind of constant place, my safe place. I used to enjoy that. So perhaps that's where my sort of love for it came, really.
So the kind of culture of self-improvement, education, development, community that it brings as well. So education, I think, it's a powerful thing, isn't it? Education. Not every person in the world gets the privilege to go to school and receive an education. And when you think about it and you break it down, it's amazing. Like, it's insane that we are lucky to have that education, because the education gives us opportunities, right? It gives us also community, it gives us a space to go. It gives us the ability to build a families and all that type of stuff. So it's a real positive impact on society in general. Now, you were in school for 16 years. What were you teaching then? What were you actually delivering teaching wise towards the end? What was your, would you say, business?
Yeah, so I taught business and finance. So I started in tourism and business. And then as the years went on, I was doing lots of marketing because I had a bit of a marketing and sales background. But then I think you end up sort of developing your own things that you enjoy to teach, as well as things that people say, well, you're quite experienced, Laura. Do you think you could develop this program, or could you teach on that? So it honestly ranged from customer service, operations management, loads and loads of finance. And then just as I was leaving, T-level program came in. So that's the other thing with teaching, is every year is so different because there's government reforms. There might be new funding, new objectives, new things that the area need to develop, and finance was definitely one of them. T-levels was coming in, and they asked me to kind of head up the T-level finance and get involved in building that. So so that was quite a different subject area, actually, because it wasn't like the traditional how do you run your business, the cash flow forecasting, profit and loss, that sort of stuff. It was more to do with, well, actually in the second year they can branch off and pick a kind of like a career path, and one of those being wealth management. And I was like, I don't know anything about wealth management, I'll be honest. So we looked into it, and there was a real shortage and need for that in the area. Banking was another one, but again, the high street was sort of in decline with that. So we went down the wealth management route, and I was basically researching and looking for people to come and help, with I'll be teaching it, but get people on board to kind of talk about their experiences and their careers to kind of inspire the students, really.
Okay, so at that point, did you know much about wealth management, financial planning?
No, I'd never had a financial plan. I wouldn't know a financial advisor if I bumped into them. I just assumed it was, well, for me, I spoke to a mortgage advisor once, but that was it. And none of my family would ever have had financial advice. They didn't have any money. So, no. So, and I didn't know anyone, none of my friends, none of the people I knew. So, yeah. Or
Very
if they
interesting.
had, it was a financial advice was something that you kind of did behind closed doors. You didn't. I don't know. The people I spoke to didn't ever talk about it anyway.
Never talked about it. So yeah, you weren't exposed to it, and you weren't in a family that had wealth, for example, that had a wealth manager or a financial planner. So why would you know? Um, okay, very interesting. So from a pension perspective, then, what were you doing? Were you just sort of taking the pension through the education system, or did you not know about financial planners from your pension side, or it was just taken care of by the school?
No, because teacher's pension just you just pay in, you just sign up, pay in,
Mm.
and everyone loves the teacher's pension. It's that's what everyone said. Make sure you sign up, and you've got a good pension. So you know it's all bundled up, all lovely, and you're in this bubble, and you're all secure, and that's that really.
And that's that. So at that point, you reached out to somebody to talk to them about wealth management to come in and educate the students if they were interested in taking that pathway as a career. So
Mm.
you reached out, you did some research, and you came across St James's Place, didn't you?
Yeah, I was looking for a guest speaker, and I just trying to find someone because I hadn't heard of anything or anyone. And then, yeah, I was on the website and I just saw the academy and I thought, oh, this would be great for the students. Like, look at this, we could get them through the course. And then the more I read, I was like, no, this is not for them. This is for big girls. And I just looked and I thought, the more I read about it, I read the brochure about 3 times. And I thought, do you know what? This is something I would love to do. And this is potentially a really good time for me. Um, so yeah, I thought it was a bit too good to be true, to be honest.
Hmm.
I'm quite a skeptical person, but yeah, I just picked up the phone because that's the sort of thing I do, and just asked a million questions because that's another thing I do, ask lots of questions. And yeah, a few phone calls later, I was starting to really look into it.
That's interesting. So just from that chance encounter, that chance viewing of a landing page talking about an academy with the kids in mind, really, and you just established
Yeah.
and very quickly saw that, oh, hang on, this is a career pathway. So what was it though that because at that point you were kind of hooked. You were kind of, well, hang on, this sounds too good to be true. This is a career pathway. I suppose, what was it about it that really turned you on to St James's Place Academy? What got your interest then?
Well, I think for me it was just a place that, again, something I was familiar with in this educational world. It was like another educational setting for me to be in, and that I'm going to be looked after. So they're going to train me, they're going to develop me after even all my exams. There's all this support, and it doesn't stop there. It's like a continuation. It doesn't go to term 6. It's a forever, and the community aspect of it as well. And I think for me, I love to constantly upskill, try and improve, and that sort of culture or those values just seem to go on and on and on. But yeah, it was just this place that I could go to, and they would not reinvent me, but get me over to the next stage, really.
And were you ready for a change at that stage? Were you looking for something subconsciously, consciously, something that wasn't teaching anymore?
Yeah, well, I think for me, I felt like I'd come to a bit of a natural end in my career in teaching. There's not one thing that caused it. It kind of develops and happens over time. Having gone back, having had my second child just before the COVID lockdown, I think, without the cliche of saying, "Oh, COVID made me really reflective," but being stuck in with a brand new baby and a 5-year-old kind of does make you quite reflective, and you've got no one to talk to. So, yeah. But also things had changed. My team had changed. Lots of people had left, and you can't do that role. You can't teach without an absolute solid team.
Mm.
Um, and there's so many changes. The teaching profession is so difficult. Any teacher will tell you. the hours you hear about it all the time, but the hours you work are quite phenomenal. The effort you put in, the kind of sacrifices you make, it just becomes unsustainable essentially. So when the bricks start to fall down, you feel actually I can't do this anymore. And I always said, well, it got to the point where I felt like I couldn't give it any more like I used to, or, then I would say, hands up, it's now time. So I think, but equally, you get the holidays, which everyone talks about. I know, which winds me up a little bit, because if I had a pound for everyone said, oh, you get all those holidays, isn't it great? But you work a lot in that time. So
Yeah.
I was starting to think about what could I do instead? What could I actually go and do as another career that would suit my family, that was flexible, had the holiday, what am I going to do? But actually, then the answer is teaching. It's like teaching. So you kind of go, well, wherever I go, the problems are going to still be the same. It's just going to be a different environment, different set of students. So yeah, so I think I'd kind of come to a bit of a conclusion, and then I read about the academy, and then I thought, actually, this sounds flexible. This gives me the opportunity to still be with people. This gives me the opportunity to educate, and finance obviously is something I was already kind of passionate about and part of. It was just in the private sector, a bit different, really. So.
Very interesting. So there was some crossover there, and it was a point in your time where teaching was reaching its peak of burnout. There's a lot of teachers I speak to have reached the point of burnout, like fatigue. They're genuinely fatigued. And the harder you work in teaching, the more energy, effort that you put in, the kind of feedback I'm getting is it's kind of, you don't get anything more, right? You don't get more, you don't get paid performance related pay, for instance, right?
No.
It almost becomes, as well as culturally, a bit of a thankless task. Like everybody in every area of teaching seems to be feeling the pressure at the moment. That's what I'm hearing, and that's what when I'm talking to people who work in teaching, it's tough. Yeah, you're right, and which is a real shame, really, because it's a sort of vital job, isn't it? Teaching our children and young adults, it should be something that we invest in and support our teachers to make sure that they are happy and their well-being is looked after as well. You mentioned about a team there and building a team. Has that been something as well? We'll go into your building a business in a second, but the business, the business studies that you were teaching, the finance side that you were teaching, and the building the team internally, have they been transferable skills that you've taken into financial planning?
Yeah, I mean, definitely working within a team. I just managed a very small team, and I was part of a much bigger team. But yeah, you working with other people, and knowing who you can call upon and how they can support you and how you can support them. Yeah, is massive. And I feel now, even though that was one of my biggest concerns, actually, going over and becoming self-employed on my own. I've gone from being surrounded by people in a workroom all the time, where you can just come in from the lesson and vent or ask for help, or what do you think about that, or can someone just read over this, what do you think, or just to chat and run ideas off each other. I'm on my own now. So I've gone from all of that to now on my own. But actually, you're not, because you speak with your clients every day. You've got people within the system or within SJP that I can pick up the phone to, and I feel like I'm automatically part of a team. And I do kind of work in different teams as well. So, I've still got that team feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving from teaching, job for life, security, okay, you know it, pension, all those typical types of things, you know it inside out. It was your dream job as a kid. So then moving over to financial planning, how long did it actually take you to make that transition and actually join the academy?
I think from the time I made that initial phone call, and then someone calling me back, from the time I think I actually started was, I want to say, about 9 months.
Okay,
It took it
interesting.
took a, it took a long time because I like to ask lots of questions. I like to be 100% sure. I'm not one of these people that just goes for it. It takes a while, and I've gone from, like you said, that security, going to the place I've known for 16 years, doing the thing that I could do with my eyes shut,
Mm,
to a completely different business, a completely different sector. I'm now doing it on my own, no financial support. I'm self-employed.
mm.
um it had to be right, and I had to do my due diligence, really, and I had to make sure it was right for my family as well as me.
Okay. Now, in that 9 months, what were the questions that you were asking? What were the key things that you might have been worried about, or the things
Mm.
you wanted to evidence, or perhaps were you doing some learning during that period? What took place in that 9 months? Because there will be people like you that are kind of want to run through the due diligence, they want to understand it, they want
Mm.
to make sure it's the right thing. But for you, why 9 months, and what was it that you were checking out?
Well, I had to obviously find out the numbers. I had to find out the finances. I couldn't put my family into financial difficulty. There's no way I would do that. So, and there's no guarantee. You're self-employed, so they can't say, "Oh yeah, you'll definitely earn X amount within so many months." There's none of that. I needed to know that I would be supported whilst I was in the academy, so
Mhm.
I could get financial pay in that time, so I could actually do it. I had to think about how us as a family would get through the time when I wasn't earning, or potentially wasn't earning money. So we had to
Mhm.
work that out as a family. I needed to know as well what was expected of me and what I needed to do as well. So yeah, I did 2 exams myself, that I had to sit whilst I was still teaching, and that, I guess, in a way, it was good because I had it. It proved to me, I had to prove to myself that I could do it, and I had,
Mm.
a bit of competency. But it proved to St James's Place that I was committed and I was able as well. And I did spend a lot of time reaching out to people, and the guy, Rick, who I'm really really close friends with now, who basically onboarded me. He I asked him to get me in front of people that were already either in the academy, having just been in the academy, um, or never been in the academy but in St James's Place, that I could go and speak to and ask as many random questions as you like. But I just wanted to hear from lots of different people, their experiences, and would I fit? Is this right for me? Is this right for my family? And is this something I can do?
So those internal testimonials of people that have gone through the pathway and actually come out the other side and are reaping the
Mm.
rewards, you wanted to understand a little bit about perhaps those challenges that you can preempt. I think one of the biggest ones with anybody going self-employed is, can I cover the bills? When am I going to be able to cover the bills? Can we afford to do
Mm.
this? Um,
Yeah.
did you make a decision to save some money during that 9 months? Did you have a plan of knowing that you could cover the bills for 3, 6, 9, 12 months? Was there a plan like that in place for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, young family. My husband actually works in the NHS,
Hmm.
and I was a teacher. We're not big earners, so childcare costs are obviously really, really high. So we couldn't save loads and loads and loads and loads and loads. But we just made some, changes and made sure that there was enough. I think we made sure there was about 6 months worth of money there, so that if I wasn't able to, write any business or get any clients, or, make any money in that time, that I had something in place, really. And I suppose, if you like, that's like my first experience of financial planning, because I'd always had that guaranteed income, and you always know what you're going to get. You know, but we made sure it worked, and we did have family that said, we support this, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
There has to be a leap at some point, and I think the more I got into it, the more I believed it was going to work, and I think the more planning you do, the more understanding you have of something, and the more you know what is to come, the more you can plan for. So it doesn't feel such a scary leap in the end. And I think because I was going into the SJP bubble, I wasn't going on my own.
No.
I had all the mechanisms in place to support me and look after me and develop me, so that when I was ready to leave the academy, I was ready. I was ready as I
Okay.
could be anyway.
How long did it take you to go through the academy? I know you did your first 2 qualifications, and you have to do that to join SJP. Did that in your
Yeah.
own time. But when you
Mm-hmm.
then said, right, I'm going to join the academy, did you leave teaching, join the academy? And then how long did that actually take before you were let loose?
Okay, so in good teacher style, I handed my notice in so that I got my students all in the right place that I wanted them to be before I left. And that was another thing when you talk about how long does it take. You can't just switch that off, Anyhow, so it was February half term, so I made sure that my notice was in, and I had February half term, and then I went straight into teaching. Well, it's a bit harder for me actually, sadly, because I left teaching on the Friday, and on the Sunday morning, I actually found my mum. She'd had a massive stroke,
Right.
and so that actually threw all sorts of other spanners in the works for the year ahead. But so I left my 16-year teaching career, and my mum got very, very poorly very, very quickly. But yeah, it was an instant thing. I didn't give myself a break. I never do. But yeah. So, and then I was in the academy full time, as it were, for 6 months. So 3 months of hard exams, and it was constant exams. And with my cohort, NFA 12, the best cohort ever. There's another team that I honestly, you talk about support, but that group of people, that relationship you build with those people that you train with, you're all going through exactly the same thing. You've all just left your jobs. You're all developing at the same time, doing the same thing. So if it wasn't for that team, and they didn't make us feel so comfortable and connected, then it wouldn't have been so good. But and then we did another 3 months where we were more face to face. So we'd done the formal qualification, and then we were learning more observational skills, more advisory skills.
Okay.
So after 6 months, really. So
Okay.
that's it,
So
and then
during
you're
that,
loose.
and then you're loose. But during that 6-month period, there is some financial support for you.
Yes, yeah, the academy will provide you with financial support along the way, which is a set amount, and again, that's something you have to factor in when you join a new career. And I was grateful because I've always paid for my education with my degrees, my PGCE. You pay for your education, when actually this time I was selected and they paid for me, and I thought, again, too good to be true. Like, how does that work? But obviously, you have to. The selection process um, is vigorous. It needs to be, because you've got to be the right people to do the role. So.
And did that give you confidence in St James's Place that they are vetting people the right way, that are entering the business and becoming financial planners and responsible for clients' future financial needs and well-being?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really big job, isn't it? And it's a responsible job, and then it's very accountable. So I think, I think it's absolutely right that they, you go through such a tight process, and they really do check to check that you're okay financially as well, because they want to make sure that you're okay, and you're not going to put yourself or family at risk. I remember having that conversation quite a few times, so I'm grateful that they were so strict on that.
Sounds to me you're a naturally academic person who likes to learn. That's my assumption. Is that correct?
Yeah, I love to learn. I'm not naturally academic. I do have to work very hard, I would say.
You have to work very hard. Okay, well, that's interesting. So tell me, were the exams and the qualifications tough?
Yeah, 100%. Um, and I did, the teacher in me was trying to make a little schedule, or teach yourself. I'm very good at teaching other people. I don't know how good I am at teaching myself. But it's different. It's a different discipline. But yeah, I think as long as you reach out to all the support that's available to you, then yeah, you'll be absolutely fine.
Now, last time I checked, teachers aren't in their classrooms selling themselves and their services to their students. Okay, maybe you're selling a concept or an idea, or trying to bring education to life in a fun way that they learn in a different way and absorb the information. Right? How you come through the academy, you get the qualifications. Now we all know the qualifications don't make the financial planner. They don't make you a financial planner. They just give you the qualifications to be able to give the advice. What makes you a financial planner is your ability to win and prospect new clients, develop relationships with them, and continue on that process throughout your financial planning career. So you build your assets under management, you build your loyal clients, and you generate referrals, and hopefully you build a fantastic business that you can one day exit and sell, and it's got a value. That's one of the long-term benefits of building a financial planning practice on a self-employed basis, and that's one of the benefits of joining St. James's Place in their ecosystem.
Yeah.
But 16 years working as a teacher, did you find the prospecting side difficult? So what we would call business development, prospecting for clients, generating new business. Did you find that tricky at all?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because you're constantly when you're teaching, you're constantly in a community, and you've got a free flow of people coming through all the time. But obviously, the second you leave that, you now need to go and find your clients. But I think what someone made me realize, because I remember them saying to me, where's your client base? What's your network like? And I'm like, I've not got one. I don't know. And they said, well, talk to us about you. And I was like, well, it sounds a bit boring. I'm on the PTA at the school, and my sons play rugby, and I play netball, and yeah, cricket. We're involved in the cricket club, and then before you know it, I've just basically, and being a teacher, all those ex-students as well, not just teaching, people I've taught over time, but people I've worked with over time. I've been part of a lot of communities, and I am still actively part in a lot of communities. So I think you don't realize until you sit down and think about it, that yeah, it's about your connections. It's about who you're involved with on a day-to-day basis, really, and you just need to look at things slightly differently.
And also let's get back in the conversation to earlier. You'd never come across a wealth manager or a financial planner in your career as a teacher. So that tells me that teachers is a market that aren't exposed to financial planners, and you understand both sides of the fence, and therefore you can communicate with them and understand with them the pressures and stresses and the problems that they're under, because you've done the job. And then there is that crossover. So that's an interesting area as well. And there are companies out there that do that, like Wesleyan, for example. They focus on teachers, and they focus on dentists, and they focus on lawyers. It's an interesting niche. Now, that's interesting you said about the communities, and understanding your network and leaning into that network is a really powerful way, but you also have to position what it is that you're doing to those people, and often people feel uncomfortable doing that with people that they might know. So how do you feel that, what was your strategy to that? So, because someone's going to listen to this and they are going to be thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to position myself? How am I going to get those people that I know or the networks that I'm in? How am I going to get somebody to essentially become a client of me as a financial planner?
That is a really good question and a tough question. um, I think I think really you should just continue to be yourself and do the things that you really, really value. And I think when people, if they want to work with you, you need to build that relationship and that trust. And I think from my previous life, having worked with lots and lots of people, genuinely being there to help them, there's no reward my end or financial exchange or anything like that. I think a lot of people thought that they could sit down with me because they knew I would go above and beyond, that I'd work really, really hard, and I've got that really hardworking ethic sort of thing. So and I think sometimes you'll be surprised. I think that's something I've been very surprised with, is that I'm not a salesperson. I don't like sales. I just like to have conversations and like to find out about the individual and how is it that I might be able to help them. And a lot of people don't realize that they need help, or they don't, like me. I wasn't exposed to anything like that. So I don't need that service. But yeah, I suppose again, it's that educational thing. Back to education. What do you need? How can we help? Did you know about this? Is that something you'd be interested in, or is that something you found difficult or that you're worried about? So I think it's the relationship thing. When people get to know you and they get to know what you do, then they make that decision whether or not they think, actually, that's something I need help with. And then they reach out.
They reach out, absolutely. So they hear about you through your networks, they see the work you're doing, perhaps somebody else talks a little bit. And I suppose when you bring it into conversation, you're naturally a conversationalist anyway. You're naturally meeting other mums, you're having conversations with them, you're sharing what your career switch has been like, perhaps. It will just bring up natural opportunities to position, I suppose, financial planning. Because your story is one of discovery. You didn't understand the financial planning profession, but you can now see the benefit of being in the financial planning profession and having a financial plan.
Yeah.
So much so that you now work within the financial planning profession. So I think it's one of those interesting stories. And it's like, let me tell you how I ended up becoming a financial planner. It was because I didn't have a financial plan and I didn't understand the benefit. I even switched from teaching to financial planning because, to me, it's a beneficial career. And I think it's going to be beneficial for you if we sit down and have a conversation and talk about your financial plan. Have you got one? And I think it's a great position. And I think also being in a position of trust as a teacher and then transitioning into financial planning, I think it's respected. So people instantly will respect and instantly trust the teacher. And I like what you said there about like not being a natural salesperson, right? You're not constantly looking for the way, the angles, the kind of manipulative approach sometimes that sales can actually have. It is just education. It's teaching. It's giving. And having a safe space where people can openly have a conversation and talk about it. Because not everyone wants to talk about their finances. It's a tricky one to talk about, stiff upper lip and all that. But I suppose having that kind of calmer approach to it allows people to open up and start talking about it, which is quite good. Interesting.
Yeah,
do you go after? Do you? Sorry, you carry on. What are you going to say then?
No, I was just going to say, I think if you really, people don't know necessarily what they need, and I think if you really do tune into what, having that emotional intelligence and genuinely wanting to understand people, even everything, my window cleaner, we have a conversation, and you just my mum used to say to me that I would sit at the back of the bus when I was 3, and I'd literally be, by the end of the bus journey, I'd have got someone's life story, because I was that 3-year-old that just wouldn't, I'm just really interested in people. But I think and now I know what I know, and this is one of my, I don't know if it's a strength or a weakness. I just want to tell everyone about it, because I think, I didn't know that you could do that, and I didn't know that this was available, and oh my goodness, I know 5 people that do that job. I'm going to go and tell them now, and and that sounds a bit in your face, but I just think they probably
No,
don't know that because they've never known that. Why would they know that? Because they've never
exactly.
spoken to an advisor before. So I think, yeah, there's certainly everyone. I just like to sort of spread the word, and I think connecting other people as well is something that I think is
Mm.
really beneficial. And maybe that's again why I speak to a lot of people, is because if I know that person over there can help that person over there, I will happily marry them, and get them to work together. Because again, if I know something, I have to spread the word, and if I know that person's going to really benefit someone, I'll help them. So yeah.
That's the strength. That is networking, isn't it?
Mm,
Networking is about building a network of influential people that you can refer other people to because they're
mm,
experts in a specific subject that you are not, that ultimately should be able to help somebody else. So
yeah.
you're always thinking, who in my network are people that I want to surround myself that are adding value in people's lives that I can add, and then referring them in would be a beneficial thing for that individual. I like that.
Mm.
It's signposting, isn't it? It's
Oh, I love
signposting
it.
people. Yeah, I
And in
love
the
signposting.
community, in all the communities I'm part of, there's so many unsung heroes in
Yeah.
each part, like you have no idea what goes on in that playground is full of absolute like people that I just think I can't live without them for one
Mm.
reason or another. So we need to, we've all got those little support networks. We need to kind of spread the word in our own community. So
So the strategy for you, and is what I'm hearing, is get out and talk to people, regardless. Just go out and meet people, have conversations, be nosy, be inquisitive, be curious. Don't be afraid
mm,
to have conversations because every conversation, if you're not having conversations, you're not creating opportunities. But you're also not thinking, what do I get out of it? What do I get out of it? You're also trying to understand who that person is, what makes them tick, what do they do, how can they add value to somebody else? And I often think
mm,
that way as well. I'm always thinking that way. I'm very interested in others. What do you do? What's your purpose? How do you help people? What do you care
mm,
about? What
mm,
are you all about? And those people that are really lovely, it just shines through. It comes up, and then you're like, right, I want that person around me. I want to be surrounded by people like that. So I'm picking the people I want to be surrounded by all the time,
mm,
and the people that
mm,
lift me up, the people that add value, because I want to be
mm,
able to say, I know somebody who can help you there because nothing's better than giving a referral. As much as receiving, nothing is better than giving one. Because the more you give, the more you get back. It just works in that way. And it's giving it to the right person who's going to give you the right stuff back. And sometimes you shouldn't expect anything back. Sometimes it's
no.
just quite literally about doing the right thing and passing somebody in the right way. I know people that I
Mm,
refer to all the time, right? I've never had anything back. It doesn't bother me. It's because the person I've
mm,
referred has a great experience. So the person that's been referred might then come back to me or might refer people into me because because I've done a good thing for them, So people think
yeah,
positively and do positive
yeah.
things. So that's a really important one for me. So how has it been? How long have you been advising on your own now with St James's Place?
It's actually been just a year, only a year now. So
Okay.
I've had my first year, which has been phenomenal, absolutely
Okay.
amazing. Yeah,
Describe that. Why is it being phenomenal? Because that's a fantastic word
it
to
is a big
describe your
word, isn't
first
it, for
year.
me?
Yeah.
Um, I think I think it's just um, proven. I've proven to myself what I've been able to achieve personally. Going from being the teacher to now doing something completely different. I've met some amazing people in that time, both internally in St James's Place, people I hope I keep forever, um, and people and clients. Every week I sit in front of new people, and I just think I'm just in awe of quite a lot of people actually. And I like to take a little bit of everyone that I meet as well. So and yeah, I've not had a quiet day. I've been very, very busy. I feel very lucky in that respect. And I feel like it's taken me a while, but I'm finally adapting to my new way of life, because you can't just turn things off from how it used to be in that rigid structure. But now I'm I can, take time off if I want. And I find it hard. I don't have to answer to anyone apart from myself. And I am the worst boss ever, FYI. Oh dear. But no, in the sense that I'm not very good at, you're a business owner. So I just constantly, I'm thinking, oh, I should do that for so and so, and I should do that for so and so. So I'm learning. It's every day's different. Every day's a school day, as they say.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's been brilliant.
So this work-life balance then you're talking about, okay?
Yeah.
Taking some time off when you want to take it. You're your own boss. You're a partner of St. James's Place.
Mm.
How has that affected you in your family, your children? I mean, it is the dream to run your own business and be flexible and live your life how you want to live it. And when you say phenomenal, does that represent that part of it? What is that? Is that a big part of it, or is it the money you've earned? Is it the fact that you took the leap and it paid off?
Mm. I think I have been able to be flexible. I think I will be forever grateful because where I did basically have to care for my mum pretty much, and sadly she passed away this year, I would never have got that time ever in the teaching world to be at my mum's side whenever she needed it, or
Mm,
take her out for an afternoon walk, or wheelchair ride, whatever you want to call it. Um, and so I'll always be grateful for that. I think, with the kids, I can pick them up. I don't have to race to go, oh, my lesson, hang on, I can't fit enough at lessons in the day to get my hours up to fulfill a salary. I can work at night, which I used to do, but now I can be rewarded for that.
mm,
If I choose to work 5 nights a week, that's up to me. But then in the day, if I want to go for a walk or go meet a friend for coffee or whatever, I can do that. I can go to sports day, I can volunteer at eco club for my son, I can do whatever I need to do, which sadly teaching doesn't allow that structure. That workplace doesn't allow that. So yeah, so that's been amazing, but I need to be I need to give myself a bit more of that time because I do just work, 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 work. But that's just me. I think that's
yeah,
just
I'm,
the person I am.
yeah, I've got that. I'm working on my boundaries at the moment, and I've never been an incredibly organized person. I've just always worked, and I'd roll over in the morning and look at my mobile phone and start working. And I've
Mm,
really noticed it lately. And I noticed it when I was running my own business, and I love working. I really love working, but I need to put time and energy into the other areas of my life. So I've
mm,
started structuring my days and time blocking my days and putting into my diary my personal well-being, my family time, um, exercise, all that kind of stuff. I'm really blocking the time out and making sure I'm doing specific tasks at the times of the day where I have the most energy. The afternoon for me isn't a great time for me to sit down and try to plan something. My brain's frazzled. The afternoon for me is sitting down and talking to people because I get energized when I talk to people. So
mm,
that's what I like about structuring your day and finding that balance. And I suppose running a business for 16 years, I've always been used to running my own diary, working the way I want to work. And I did it with the financial plan of life as well. But for me, I've come into an environment where technically I am employed. I keep saying technically. I am employed by them now, right? And they want their pound of flesh. Of course they do. But at the same time, I must be more organized to build in those pillars of well-being as well, and to really structure my
mm,
day around how best I work and not go at it like a bull in a china shop. Because when you're running your own business, you can often go at it like a bull in a china shop. Someone, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. And where I've come into like an employed place in this ecosystem, in this way that people are working, for me, I'm I'm actually quite liking it.
mm,
I'm liking the structure.
mm,
And I'm liking the people that I lean into. Like you've got into St. James's Place, and there's people in there, all different levels of experience, right? And you can lean into them whenever you want, right? It's one of the
mm,
most loneliest things is when you run a business, when it's just all on you and it's all on your shoulders. What I've liked about going into Hoxton, for example, is that there's all these different people, all these different levels of expertise, and I can lean into them and I can talk to
Yeah.
them and I can pick their brains and I can use their expertise in the things that I want to do. And for me, it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. Like, it's like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not just one person trying to manage a million and one things. So for me, it's been like a real eye opener that can kind of go one, you can go the other way. You can go back from being self-employed, going back into employed and thinking, this is wonderful. And then you can go from
Yeah.
employed. But it's about where I think I've understand both sides of the fence. I think now I'm working out how I can get the best of both worlds. And I think because I've got the financial planner life and it is still my business, and it is a business that creates an income. So I'm technically self-employed and running my own business over there. And over there, I'm employed. But I'm also employed over there helping them build their business. You know, I don't know, I like it. It's nice. And I think we just got to find that balance in what we do. And if you're going to go self-employed and you're going to become a financial planner, all the will in the world, right? You might make it a success, but you're going to need support. Simple as that. And I think when I do, that's why I work with St. James's Place, right? They get a bad rep a lot, St. James's Place. Their academy is phenomenal. It's like there's no one's really touching their academy. Like, we're doing a brilliant job at Hoxton with what we call the pathway. But SJP have been going for some time, and they've invested a lot of money in that academy. I think it's been about 28 million a year, right? And they put a lot of time and energy in the training and the development and the refining of it to make it a really great experience. And I'm pleased that people like you who do their due diligence and are risk adverse and want to make sure it's the right thing to do, leaving a career like teaching and going into financial planning. I'm glad you used the word phenomenal at the end of it, because for me, it means I'm promoting the right process to becoming a financial advisor, because you're living proof and you're doing it, you know, Laura. And I'm pleased for you. I'm really, really pleased for you. And I think really the icing, and it's sad that your mum died, you know, and it's sad what your mum went through. But it's again, it came at a time when you just started in the academy and it just gave you that flexibility, didn't it? You know, and if you didn't have that, how different that final year would have been, eh?
I couldn't even think about it. But you know, the academy and all the people in the academy knew what I was going through, and I rang them the second Mum had it, and they said, "What do you want us to do, Laura? How do you want us to support you?" And it was just, amazing. And you know, I've done a lot of training in my time, and while I was even in teaching, I did lots of other management qualifications. I did an accountancy qualification. I was just one of those person that, you know, loved to keep going. But the training that I received, in my opinion, was just brilliant. You've got real experienced people that know the job, that know the sector, and they're literally imparting all their knowledge and like you said, this technical stuff, you know, I don't think I'm the most technically minded despite my qualifications, but I know I can ring up, you know, a whole raft of people that are so technically specialist in their area at St. James's Place, whether it was within the academy or now having not, you know, having left that I don't feel alone, and I will always find the answer, and I'll always then get the best outcome for my clients and for me, really, because
Brilliant.
there's always someone out there.
Yeah, I love it. That's music to my ears that you're getting that level of support, because that's one of the most important things for me is you're not just chucking somebody at the deep end. You know, that there are people there that have tried and tested, trodden the path, and they are helping support you in every area of your business. Growing your business now, you are a partner. Are you going to stay just yourself? You sound like you have a lot of ambition and you work hard. So do you have aspirations to grow the business and hire advisors in the future? Or is it a lifestyle business? Where do you think that you're going to make an investment into your business in the future, and why?
I think I don't see myself having a big practice. I see, for me, my values, what I wanted to achieve is that the local community or people would say, you know, I need some help with something. I know, I'll ring Laura, and they'll ring me. But you know, I also like to build that support around me and have experts in the field and outside that I can draw on so I can support my clients. So That doesn't mean me employing people, but it does mean me having this sort of like toolbox of really wonderful people that can support me and my clients. I think um, I don't want to detract from what I do, and that's going to see clients and going to help people. So if it become too big and I ended up managing lots of people, then I don't feel that then I would have the same impact or, you know, deliver the same value. So I think for me, it's about working with people, but not necessarily, you know, having this big practice really. So perhaps, yeah, maybe it is a lifestyle business, because essentially that's why I chose to, you know, leave my previous life, is to build a better lifestyle for me and a better quality of life for me and my family. So
Well,
but yeah,
your
I'm a very
company,
open-minded person, so I will say I never say never to anything, but
well, it's an interesting one, and I think, you know, that's a great way to lead the business. So if Laura North wants to grow clients, for example, there's only a certain limit that you can go to. So you've got to start thinking
yeah,
about who you got in the business to support
you're
you.
right.
So maybe it's a business. I know financial planners that have got, you know, one financial planner has 6 people in their business, but he turns over £1 million, you know.
Mm.
So there is that ability to be a financial planner, a practitioner. This guy works. He works. It's Warren Shute, actually. Look him up, Warren Shute. He was on my podcast. Good guy. He does like a course actually for financial planners that you can follow, um, to be able to structure your business in a way that you can run it as a solo practitioner and earn over £1 million a year.
All right.
And he's been doing it for quite some time. He's a really good guy, actually. He was on the podcast. Worth a look, actually, and worth a listen. I think if I was a financial planner, I'd be aiming for that. You know, I'd rather have a team of people around me that are working with me and supporting me, as
Yeah.
opposed to having like 5 financial planners, because 5 of me would drive me insane, I think, you know.
Yeah, and
I'd
I
rather
think
have
it's about getting the right people that you want to work with, you know, because in time I could, you know, and I could tomorrow meet someone and go, oh, we'd make brilliant partners. Oh, I'd love to work together. And actually, there's people that I've already worked with, and I think, oh, it'd be amazing to work with them on a
yeah.
full-time basis. So yeah, I'm very open-minded, open to suggestions, but as long as what I do, I believe in, and that it's, you know, right by me, my family, and my client base, really.
Well, Laura, it's been a pleasure talking to you. I love your honesty and genuineness. You're very genuine. Um, I believe you when you talk about your journey, and
Mm.
that's the most important thing. And I think people need to listen to stories like yours, because it's honest. It's a true reflection of what you've been through, especially through St James's Place and the Academy and where you are today. So I'm really pleased that your career transition has been amazing. Welcome to the financial planning profession. We need more people like you in it. And thank you for sharing your journey today, because you're only going to inspire other people to take that leap, to move into
Yeah.
financial planning, especially women as well. You need more women, okay, talking about it is also, because more women will listen and more women will then follow in your footsteps. And ultimately, the higher purpose of more financial well-being for everybody that needs it, right, in the UK. That's a really important thing as well.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to, and I've continued on my educational stuff. I've been able to go into schools, so I still get that little bit. And you educate every day. You know, I've always said this. I'm still a teacher. I just teach a different subject, and
Yeah.
that sounds like it's gonna become my strapline, but it really is, because you know you're on a one-to-one with someone, and you just find out about them and how you can relate to them. What do they need? What do they not need? And teachers are doing that every single day. They're planning ahead. They're thinking about the individual. They're trying to achieve, and they're trying to support and look after people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe you should explore the whole niche of teachers as well. You know, the teacher's financial planner. There's got to be something in that, and obviously people do that. They do hang their hats on it, but I mean, there's a huge opportunity there. Crikey, there's so many teachers in the UK.
Yeah.
There are so many people to help
But
them.
they only come out at half terms. They pop out like little meerkats. I remember that. because you don't. You're like this, and then the term as you come out, get a cold,
Yeah.
spend half term ill, and then you go back again. So yeah,
Well,
teachers, they're creatures of routine.
so any teachers thinking about changing career, why not take a look at financial planning? It worked for you, so it could work for them, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
Cracking. Laura, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for sharing your journey on the financial planner life.
Oh, thanks for having me, Sam.
Cheers.